It's hard to imagine that most of us got introduced to World Mobile only in 2021. And what a year it has been. Whether you're new to learning about World Mobile or have been closely following for a while, join me in looking back at the amazing things that we've read, heard, or seen about World Mobile this past year. Did you know that World Mobile has been working behind the scenes since more than 3 years ago? Here's Mickey Watkins appearing with Rod Alexander of IOHK back at the AI and Blockchain Summit in Malta in 2019. They also connected a remote area in Tanzania as early as 2019, the Smart Village, where they delivered a wireless mesh network using renewable solar-powered energy that local fishermen could operate and maintain independently. Clearly, the mission of connecting the unconnected has started long before any TGEs, tokens, and Twitter memes. Fast forward to 2021. It's the first quarter. World Mobile starts rolling out its mass marketing and community building efforts. We started seeing the creation of channels like Telegram and Facebook. The team also starts uncovering the work they do on the ground. In March, we saw Marcus and RJ on the ground in Tanzania, where they work on connecting Kanwi Elementary School for the first time. 2 World Mobile Air nodes were installed to connect a campus of 777 students to the internet. They installed a water pump, painted and repaired infrastructure, and supplied equipment like laptops, projectors, screens, and tables. In April, we started to see some high-profile press coverage. There was an interview by TechCrown UK with Mickey Watkins and Business Insider Africa with Mickey and World Mobile board member Charles Joroge. Entrepreneur features World Mobile as well in an article titled "The World's Most Innovative Cities Might Not Be Where You Think," highlighting Africa's massive potential for connectivity and World Mobile being at the center of it all. The month ended with a momentous announcement of the partnership between World Mobile and IOG and no less than the Africa Special itself. The partnership includes IOG taking a 10% equity stake in the World Mobile Group. The announcement also mentions the use of a Prism and working to build affordable network nodes based on the Cardano network infrastructure. A number of finance and crypto outlets picked up on this, including FX Street, CoinMarketCap, Bitcoin.com, and many more. In May, we see more features like this article from Bankless Times, and we also start seeing coverage from the crypto community with these videos from Crypto Gorilla and Dan from Digital Asset News. World Mobile also had several releases of its own. CCO Andrew Soper wrote a blog titled "Rethinking Power for Farmers in Africa is Just the Start for World Mobile," explaining why distributed energy and telecom is so crucial to rural Tanzania and Africa in general. We also got a bit more up close and personal with some of the leaders in the World Mobile team. CTO Antonio Hernandez gave an interview with Los Cardano, Kaizen interviewed Mickey Watkins, and crypto host Jessica Walker interviewed CEO Mickey Watkins, COO Alan Omnet, and advisors Stevich and Vinay Ruparelia as part of the Bridging the Gap series. In this month, we also saw The Beast for the first time. World Mobile opened June with another partnership announcement, this time with Boson Protocol. In his blog post, Alan Omnet says, "Our aim is to reduce the costs of intermediaries and make digital content and services more affordable. Our digital ID solution powered by Cardano will also enable a whole new set of users to gain access to the products available through Boson Protocol." Media coverage continues in June as well, with articles from Bitcoin Kenya and Herald Sheets among others. There was also some great internal media from the team once again. Solar Model had IOHK Africa Operations Director John O'Connor speaking about the cheaper energy to be used in the network. Demand Driven had John speaking to board members Charles Joroge, Andrew Bartley, and Chris Watson on how the decentralized and demand-driven model can drive economic development. Rebooting the System had CEO Mickey and CXO RJ speak about the team's mission and the thoughts behind connecting the unconnected. In Connectivity is Priceless, the team speaks to Jacqueline Kweka, a Kinondoni Municipal Councilor business owner, about the importance of connectivity for women in Africa. Mr. T continues to grind with multiple interviews that appear in articles and podcasts, as well as some with well-respected Cardano community members like Maria from Lovelace Academy and Paul from Cardano with Paul, as news about World Mobile gains even more traction within the community following the Africa Special in April. July was filled with excitement as the much-anticipated TGE or Token Generation event started on the 4th of July. And while some of us are busy reserving and buying tokens, work continues in the background. World Mobile CMO Andrew Soper publishes this neat article on Nasdaq titled, "Why Enterprises Are Missing a $1 Trillion Economy." We also heard CEO Mickey with Delphi Digital, this time joined by COO Alan and CMO Andrew as they talk about the inner workings of the sharing economy in more detail. More coverage from the crypto community gets released from some very familiar names like Crypto Capital Venture, Hashoshi, Coach K, and Cardano Live. World Mobile becomes principal partner to Fulham FC, London's oldest professional football club, named Most Ethical Club by FIFA, and a strong team currently poised for a Premier League promotion. Finally, we all tuned in to this much-seen video. World Mobile and IOHK does a joint presentation with John O'Connor, Mickey Watkins, and the man himself, Charles Hoskinson. After a jam-packed July, August rolls in with even more exciting announcements. A partnership with Meld was announced, further strengthening synergies in the Cardano ecosystem. The announcement states that the team will be working closely with Meld to create financial instruments that make it easier to purchase and deploy World Mobile infrastructure and services, and that together, they will provide access to loans at the lowest interest rates. Pretty exciting snapshots from the ground in Zanzibar were also released, giving us a glimpse of the local community and landscape. The team also had the honor of presenting to His Excellency the President of Zanzibar, Dr. Mwinyi, his own custom Fulham jersey. August 16 marked the end of the TGE, closing right on schedule and raising the full target of $40 million from the sale of 200 million tokens. September started right away with the World Mobile token distribution, and all throughout the month, we got treated to some cool footages from Zanzibar. RJ and his team showed the process of laying down the network and installing solar-powered lighting. We also started meeting members of the local community through the series called The Power of Connection, starting off with kitesurfer Isa. Interview series Bridging the Gap with Jessica Walker continues with an episode featuring Andrew Soper. Lastly, World Mobile makes a very special appearance during the Cardano Summit with this video. In October, the video series The Power of Connection continues with DJ Aisha and footballer Mojuma. CTO Antonio had an AMA beginning of the month, which helped us prepare for early staking Phase 1, launched last October 24. We got a very special update from the ground as the team shared about their trip to Zanzibar with Charles Hoskinson and the IOHK team. Over 4 days, the teams visited rollout sites and met with government officials to make plans for a stronger, connected future for Zanzibarians. The visiting parties made plans directly with President Mwinyi. They later on shared that they are partnering with the e-government in Zanzibar or eGaz to create long-term blockchain solutions and position the region as a future blockchain hub. In November, fresh from Zanzibar, Mickey gives us his May where he gave some updates about their recent trip and answered plenty of questions from the community, including those about countries interested in World Mobile, the number of users that will be onboarded soon, and end-user apps like the World Mobile Bank and World Mobile Communicator. We saw a feature article in TechCrunch and a partnership with Epson was announced. Tokens from the public pool in early staking Phase 1 got released, and, the highlight of the month, we saw World Mobile's majestic aerostat for the first time. Following the aerostat reveal in November, we had a slew of media mentions and features in December, including 2 local Tanzanian papers, The Guardian and The Citizen. Mr. T guested for interviews with Bullish Dumpling and the BBC Tech Tent podcast. Head of Token Zach spoke to MEXC for an episode of 26 questions and had an interview on Cardano with Paul to talk about World Mobile token updates. Early staking Phase 2 also began this month, and 2 weeks later, World Mobile token was listed in 3 centralized exchanges, MEXC, BitTrue, and Bitmart. Digital Asset News and CCV talked about World Mobile once again as news of new partnerships were unveiled. First up was the Sunday Swap partnership. WMTs can now be swapped on their platform, and a liquidity pool was also created for the WMT ADA pair. World Mobile also partnered with ADA Handle and ADAX Pro, another Cardano DEX. So, we now have our WMTs, We're able to stake them, trade them, and even put them in liquidity pools. The team has shown us so much of their work from the ground and in the sky, and they've brought so many meaningful partnerships on the table. And we've only barely seen the surface of World Mobile's work. Surely, the rest of 2022 will be even more exciting.